Okay, hello everyone. Welcome to the beer garden again. It has been a while that we haven't seen you guys, but this time we are back at the beer garden talking about our selections on these Wednesdays at Happy Valley. How are you, Steve? Have you been very busy quite in these few days?
Yes, I have. What with work, etc. I've been quite busy managing to see some of my horses get beat in France, which is never good, but it's very difficult sometimes. But
Mm,
I do my best.
yeah.
I'm not normally I not without blowing my own trumpet. I do quite well in France, but today Lady Lou was second favourite, beaten by a 33-1 shot.
Yeah.
That's just what you need, isn't it? But yes,
Yes.
one of these days Lady Lou will win, but. It wasn't today, unfortunately. But we live in hope. There's always tomorrow, and tomorrow's Happy Valley.
Yes, right. So let's enjoy Hong Kong racing together. What about you, Nathan? Have you been quite busy recently?
Yeah, a little bit busy. A lot of Australian racing. Obviously, we're getting the Winter Carnival up in Brisbane, the up in
Yeah.
Queensland Carnival with Doomben and also Eagle Farm. This weekend, a massive weekend of racing. I believe we've got 3 Group 1 races, the Derby up in Queensland, and a few other key races, Kingsford Smith Cup, and a few other races leading into the Stradbroke. It's a massive couple of weeks up in Queensland, so they get their turn after Sydney had a massive autumn. So definitely keen to be talking about those over the weekend, and I'll be keeping people up to date with that over at horsebetting.com. We've got some previews coming out there. Some of our tipsters on there doing some really good work over the carnival, so make sure you check that out. But yeah, no, it's a big couple of weeks, and hopefully we can continue rolling into tomorrow night. It's the great game though, Steve. As you said,
Yeah.
sometimes you get one of those ones that you get nipped on the line, or a
Yeah.
few don't go your way. But hopefully we can steer the punters into a few.
Yeah, that's nice, amazing. And this time we are going to watch 9 races at Happy Valley, and we will see a new face here that the jockey Michael D, will be making his debut in Hong Kong. Nathan, do you have any comment on this young jockey?
He's amazing. He's got a bundle of talent. He's, I believe, I don't want to say 5 or 6 time Group 1 winner here in Australia now. He's been really,
Yes.
really good up on the scene. He just got the Group 1 Goodwood Stakes on Saturday down at Morpheville in Adelaide. Travels up and down the coast of New South Wales, Queensland. He's been in and around everywhere. Victoria, obviously, is where he's based. And ever since he arrived, he's just been ultra consistent, great strike rate.
Mm,
And look, his ability says it all. The fact that he gets this short-term license over in Hong Kong, he will not be out of place. He'll start with a couple of good rides tonight. Actually, I think he's got 3 going into tonight's meeting, and I think they're all genuine hopes. And
mm.
look, I think he's only going to improve with the racing. We've got Brent Avdulla over there as well now, so it's nice to see some Australian jockeys go over and sort of try and take over Zach a little bit and see if they can sort of knock him off his mantle, at least for a couple of weeks. Obviously, they're not going to
Yeah.
get anywhere near him in any sort of premiership or anything. But again, it's a testament to our Australian hoops. We've got a lot of really quality jocks wanting to get over there and wanting to take some mounts and take a risk as well. It's not easy to go over there and sort of be successful as soon as you arrive. But guys like Mickey D, he's going to
Mm.
stamp some authority on some of these jockeys. He's a class Group 1 jockey, and I don't think he's out of place at all. So I wish him the best. In tonight, I think he's got a couple of really good rides. I might even be spruiking him on 1 or 2.
Yeah, he's definitely having a good season in Australia, but this time is also quite good for us for the Hong Kong punters to have to see some new faces at both Happy Valley and Charene. So wish him all the best. So let's start talking about our selections for today's meeting. The first day race we are going to talk about will be race 7, the first leg of the treble. It is a class 4 over 1200 meters. It is quite a wide open race, I think. But Steve, who do you pick in race 7?
Well, I went for the top weight Prime Mortar, trained by Jimmy Ting. It's probably quite a safe bet. He's likely to be the favourite. He's lightly raced. He's got a 25% strike weight, 2 wins from 8, and he was two unplaced efforts last season, but he hit his straps this time, that's for sure. And I like the second of his 2 victories this season, where it was a 3/4 length defeat of All Greek to Me from the same gate, barrier 2. So that bodes well. Also ridden that bay by Derek Lung, who gets on well with the horse. And he's up. He was defeated the next time. He came back off just over a 2-month break when he was only 6th. But of course, he had top weight that day. He has top weight again. But I think also he had a wider draw that day. And that's a contributory factor. that he had no cover that time. I think from gate 2 on this occasion, returning after about a 48-day spell, I think he's got a good chance of regaining the winning thread for Jimmy Ting. And as I say, £7 above his last winning mark. Sometimes you get a horse that wins a couple of times. They then, they almost takes a little while for them to reach to the next level. And of course, he's still in class 4. So this is another advantage. But it's one of these open races, of course, is Sight Hero, a good chance, just below him on the way. It's gate 10, though, a bit tricky for him. Easy Snip, I was very, very close to picking Easy Snip. He makes his debut here, having had all his wins at Happy Valley, at Charene, all his runs at Charene, and he was a good winner, 2 back, and the last time, a very good 4th to Lucky Quality, and considering he's from gate 12 that day, and also hemmed in when he was trying to sort of make his run in the straight. I thought it was an excellent run. And of course, he's getting £8 from the selection Prime Mortar. And you've got other horses. Happy Trio, I just thought he might be a bit vulnerable now. I picked him last time to confirm superiority with Americ to Spexo, but it wasn't to be. He was slightly outpaced that day and stayed on again to finish a very close third to that winner. But maybe from gate 6, he might even plan to find himself 3 wide if he gets out under Harry Bentley. And I thought it was So Awesome, who I'll mention later. Thought he had a chance at a decent price. But for me, I'll go for Prime Mortar to make it 3 wins from his last 4.
Yeah, so nice. Number 1, Prime Mortar, the 2-time course and distance winner. This time, although top weight for him, the draw is quite ideal. Gate 2 should be very favorable for him. And what about you, Nathan? Who do you like in this race?
Yeah, I love the case Steve made for my top selection. That's number 5 in the market, Easy Snip. I tend to agree with everything he said. I think this horse is ready to find the winner's enclosure yet again. Yes, it's the first time at Happy Valley, but gee, his form and the horses he's been running in behind in this preparation is very, very good form. You look even at just his last start, as Steve mentioned, behind Lucky Encounter, found bad luck, drew gate 12, had to go back, and still didn't find a fair run in transit, and was still able to find a line really, really nice. It was a really, really nice run in behind on that occasion. Lucky Encounter we saw come out on Saturday and run really well as well. So you can definitely be tying the form into some quality gallopers. Happy Golf prior to that, Prince of Porty prior to that. So these are really decent Charene types. And now it comes to the tighter turning track here at Happy Valley. I don't think it's necessarily a negative or a positive. It's a bit of an unknown, but the thing that I'm sort of compromising with is the price. The fact we're getting around 7.5, I think it's a very fair price for a horse that has been consistent this preparation. 18 starts in his career for 2 wins and 5 more minor placings. And a lot of those minors have come in his last 5 starts. He just knows he never runs a bad race. You know what you're going to get from him. And when he's drawn well, he's put himself in better positions. You look at his gates in his last 3 starts, he's drawn 12, 10, and 10. Yes, one of them was a winning barrier, but on all of those occasions, he's been forced back to last or near enough to and powered to the line and always been that eye catcher. But you go all the way back 4 starts back, got the perfect run behind Prince of Porty, was just beaten by a better horse on that day. The fact that he drew a better gate, we saw him be positive. That means for me, I think Lyle Hewitson and the form he's in is just unreal at the moment. I think he's going absolutely great guns. I think he can jump, put himself in the race. Somewhere near the 1-1 from barrier 5 looks ideal, and with some speed on, I think he's a cracking bet in this race, and the price in particular. I agree with everything Steve said, though. Prime Mortar's got to be considered. Oh, yes, he's got the top weight, but he earns it in this field. He's going outstanding. His technical first up run after a couple of months off was very, very good. And you just know it's exactly what you're going to get from this guy as well. Drawn gate 2, he gets the perfect run in transit to run another bold race. Sight Hero is another one I agree. I just thought the barrier was a bit awkward from 10. Not sure he gets. Ditto with Exuberant and a few others. Happy Trio, that's another consistent horse this preparation, but I think he runs into a pretty good race here with a horse that is just, I know he's been exposed now, but I still think there's a bit more upside in Easy Snip. So I've went his way at the price. Easy Snip goes on top for me in the first leg of the treble.
Yeah, that's good. So number 5, Easy Snip will be making his Happy Valley debut today. I'm quite looking forward to that because after breaking the maiden at Charene, he could keep the form last time out. So I think Easy Snip is now doing quite well in Hong Kong, although the mark is a bit higher than his winning time. But I think Happy Valley should be also suitable for him. And for me, I think this race is quite difficult to pick a horse. So maybe I study the speed map, and I think that number 6 Stoicism can be favorable for the position, because in this race I think for the horse from gate 1, number 12 Connell should be the leader, and followed by him will be Steve's selection Prime Motor, who will also be favorable. And just next to Prime Motor, I think Stoicism can stay in the 2 wide. That position is also quite good for him. And this time, Stoicism will be racing at a career low mark of 51, and he also get Agus Strong on board. So the weight is quite good for him, only carrying 119 pounds would be quite good. And gate 4 is ideal. He is a winner last season over the same course and distance. So maybe this 6-year-old is doing better at the end of the season whenever the other opponents, the other rivals are getting tired. But because of the class, he is quite competitive here, I think. And recently, last time out, he was doing quite well. He was leading, but in a fast pace that was not really suitable for him. He should keep to the end, and finishing 5th, it was not a bad form. But this time, I think the gate is better for him, and so maybe the pace in this race will not be that fast. So he may be one of the horse that could be favorable. So to recap race 7, our selections include Steve goes with number 1 Prime Motor, and Nathan goes with number 5 Easy Snip, and my pick here will be number 6 Scottism. So the second race we are going to talk about will be the next one, the race 8, the second leg of the treble. It is a class 3 over 1200 meters again. Steve, who do you like in race 8?
Well, I took an Act of Faith, number 8 there, ridden by Brenton Avdulla, who nothing from 30 now in Hong Kong. He'll be hoping he gets the monkey off his back soon, and especially if the likes of Mickey D goes and wins with Starry Night or Lean Hero, who have got great chances in the early part of the card. But Act of Faith for me, he's unlucky not to really have won lately. He's had 3 placed efforts in his last 4 runs. He was he was second to Flying on the Turf, then third to Easton, then second 2 runs back, just beaten a lip by Exponential. And back in third that day was Magniac. Now Magniac's franked the form and how he won well last time. So he now meets my selection, Act of Faith, £7 worse off. But of course you can forget about numbers when you have an improving horse like Magniac. You might just wipe the floor with him. But I think it's a tricky enough race. Magniac is drawn 8. And I think if Act of Faith recovers his form of before, I don't think his run was particularly easy last time. He worked hard to get to the front that day, and although there was room for him on the rail, there just seemed to be nothing left in reserve. I think after 3 good placed efforts, he's entitled to one blip, and I think he's got a good chance of making his second win. He won second up, beating the frustrating Yellowfin. But yes, Act of Faith for me. But again, it's a very tricky race. I thought California Sybil, you can't discount him. Magniac, as I've mentioned, and Smart Idea makes a return after 120 days. He's not really hit the kind of form that he had last season, but Harry Bentley, he's drawn on the rail in gate 1 for Frankie Law, another interesting horse. And John Size has a second string to his bow with the greatly named Americ to Spexo, who kind of a sexy sort of horse, isn't it? That I think he's one of these horses that's always perhaps a shorter price than he deserves to be. And he won narrowly last time, but it was a withering run. He got there close home. Who's to say up in grade he might go back to back? But I just have the funny feeling this is a bit too hot for him. And I still think, despite I had a look at the prices, I think he's a shorter price than Act of Faith. But I do think Act of Faith has a good chance here, and failing that, I think Magniac would probably be the one for me. But I'll go for Act of Faith.
Good pick. I think number 8, Act of Faith, and I think he is a second up winner in class 4. But when he was up to class 3, the lightweight did help him a lot. So I think this time carrying 120 pounds will be still quite good for him. So hopefully he can win another race in Hong Kong tonight. What about you, Nathan? Who do you fancy in race 8?
It's funny. I read this when I was doing the form on Monday. I looked at this race and I kept, coming back to Magniac, and I felt really confident about it, and I've landed with him on top. But the more I keep looking at this race, the more depth I see and the more terrified I am that I'm not as bullish as I was on Monday afternoon when I was doing the form. But look, I'll stick with him. I've got him on top, and I'm actually not unsurprised that the market is the way it is after sort of reassessing it, because I think $5 is fair in this field. You look at this field, and California Sybil's one that I just continue to have time for. It keeps running boldly, and he's going to beat me at some stage. This will be the race he probably does. Smart idea, I think, is the blowout chance in the race. Everything Steve said, I think he's going to come back here. I think he's going to be making some noise. Goes in the multiples for sure. Act of Faith. Definitely with the spruik that Steve gave him, I can definitely see where he's coming from there. And AM Eric Despexo again, and another horse we've had time for on the big gun. We've spoken about him a few times. But look, Maniac goes on top, and I just think I'm purely going off the eye test from what I saw last start. I thought it was an incredible win. He just sat outside the leader on that occasion. The way he powered to the line on a hot tempo and was still able to put a space on them. Yes, he's got to get the weight from that win, but I think the way he won was so impressive. You can just see the upside in this guy, and he just continues to thrive in Hong Kong conditions every single time. He's, other than one start behind Supreme Lucky, he's found the frame, and every single time he's been going forward, putting himself in his races. And you know what you're going to get from this son of Lucky Street. He's only a 3-year-old. He's relatively lightly raced since arriving over there. And I like the little space between runs. He's had a month between starts, had a little tick over trial, and I think he can definitely be coming out here and winning with the Purton and Richards team, which I'm going to be tipping them a few times on the program. Not as confident as I was on Monday when I read the race, because I do think there's more depth than I gave it credit initially, but I do think Maniac's got the upside in the field compared to some of these that we've already know their exposed form with multiple starts. So for me, I'm going with Maniac on top. Not as confident as I initially was, but I still think he's the bet in the race, considering the $5 on offer. I think is pretty good.
Yes, one of the favorites in this field will be number 3, Magnet, and I'm also going with him because this time he is the youngest horse in the field as a 3-year-old. I do think he keeps improving because after his victory last time out, he gained 20 pounds, so I think it should be a good sign. So quite a good partnership between Zach Purton and Jamie Richards, and this time it is good to have Zach Purton on board again, and Mana is quite a consistent horse, only having 5 attempts in Hong Kong and all of them not beaten far. And last time out, he broke the maiden in Hong Kong, finishing really impressively. So after the victory, Jamie Richards sent him to a barrier trial again, and the horse keeps improving. So I think he's still unexposed, and I still fancy that after breaking from gates 8, he should be getting able to get a good position, especially with Zach Purton, who knows the horse quite well on board. So I think number 3, Magnet, can win back-to-back. So to recap, race 8, Steve goes with number 8, Acts of Faith. Nathan and I agree with number 3, Magnet. So the other race we are going to talk about will be race 9, another class 3, but it is over longer distance, 1650 meters. Steve, what do you think of this race? Who do you fancy?
Well, I thought it was quite an impossible race, really, the last. I went for Red Majesty without a great deal of confidence. He's £5 above his last winning mark, rated 75. But he's a standing dish here. He's won 8 course and distance victories. He showed that he was getting back to a better run last time from a decent draw. He finished 4th to the opposing Winning Dragon, and back in 3rd was Zone D. Zone D always seems to have heavyweights. Always, his mark seems to remain constant, so he always seems to find himself in the sort of top half of a Class 3 race. And he's not the heaviest of horses either, so he has trouble carrying that, I guess. But his win strike rate's not anyway back to where was I? Yes, Red Majesty. Yes, I mean, I just think he is a consistent horse. Brendan Avdulla, it'd be hard to imagine he suddenly scores a double after waiting 30 races for a victory. But look what happened to Matthew Poon at the weekend. He went through a dry spell for a whole month, then he gets a hat-trick. And confidence is a great thing. You get one win, you get another. But yes, Red Majesty for me, he's well drawn. It's interesting. You look at the 8 course and distance victories he's had, and only 4 of them he's actually made the running. There's half of that he's actually been held up just off the pace and maybe made his move 2 furlongs out. So he doesn't have to lead. So if something goes ahead, hopefully Avdulla will just sit tight. He'll have the perfect gun run as well. So I think it'll all work out nicely. But again, it's a really tough race. You have Zone D, you've got Jumbo Fortune, who after 3 runs over 1,200 meters is intriguing with Zach Purton on board. But he's a frustrating horse, Jumbo Fortune, and he's not fantastically well drawn either. Rattan Kingdom, another horse that Purton's got history with, Gate 11, although he won last time, a narrow verdict over Maldives. And you've also got 18 Palms up in grade, but lightly raced, unexposed, Vincent Ho on board. So really, I think you could pick 7 or 8 in this race, and without a great deal of confidence, I'll take Red Majesty in the lucky last.
Yeah, so number 4, Red Majesty, this time will be ridden by Brandon Avdola. And we see that this time David Hayes is very supportive to the new faces. Apart from Brandon Avdola, he also has several horses having Mighty on board. So let's see whether this Australian partnership can have some great results today. Yes, Red Majesty this time should be the leader in this field, and Gate 2 is quite ideal for him, especially we are using C course tonight. What about you, Nathan? Who do you like in the last race of the card?
Yeah, it's an interesting one. It's one where you can look at it a few different ways. I tend to think they're going to overdo it here. The horse that I think just is a fly in the ointment is number 12, Sky Supreme. Comes here generally an all-weather horse, comes to the Happy Valley circuit, and I can see him pinging the lids, steaming across, and maybe Red Majesty from barrier 2. I tend to agree with Steve. I feel like he's definitely better ridden forward. I think definitely wants to be up on that tempo, and if they overdo it a little bit, I think it sets up nicely for a few of these back markers and horses that find prime runs. And I'm going to go number 3 here, Prime Minister on top, and he's not really one of mine. He's sort of been one that I'd sort of avoid. He's one of those ones where he mix and matches his form. One day he runs a bold race and he's in the minors, and then one day he's running last of 12, and you just think, well, what is this guy? What is this horse? But from barrier 5, gets a perfect map. And I just feel like Casey Long, if he can jump, put him in a position like he did last time behind Hyper Dragon Ball at Charene, I couldn't get away from him, particularly at the price. He hasn't got much of a second up reference in terms of form, but I think he will improve with the run with some fitness on his side. He's getting around 6.5. And I just feel like if he can jump, put himself there, he's going to be a bit of a chance here, this son of McPhee. He's got 30 starts, 6 wins, and 5 more minors to his name. He's consistent. You know what you're going to get from him now on his exposed form. And just if he can lift from his first up run rather than regress, you've got to consider him and consider him a major player. If they do go too quickly up on speed, he's the one that will get the last crack at them, powering over the top, and I think he can do it. He's a 7-year-old now, so he's been around for these sort of this class for a long time, and I think he can definitely come out and make some noise. He's peaked up in class 2 before, so the fact we're getting in sort of the middle of class 3, I think he can still be very, very competitive here. 18 Palms is the one that I just kept looking at thinking, okay, yes, he won last time. Yes, it was impressive. Just don't know where he goes from the map from barrier 7. Looks a bit tricky. If he gets worse than midfield, he's going to have some work to do. Same with Zone D. He's the one that gets the bigger weight, and he just continues to get back in his races. And so, yes, he won 3 back, but geez, it's hard to entertain him the way with his racing pattern. He just becomes a bit of a negative horse, in my opinion. But Antoine Hamlin jumps aboard, and he can definitely be making some noise here. And Return Kingdom's another one that I've had a lot of time for. Draws awkwardly. If he drew a gate, I think the $12, you could cut the price in half. I think he's really been a victim of the barrier on this occasion, and I think could be his undoing. But I do like Return Kingdom moving forward, particularly after that run he produced in this grade over the 1650. But I've landed with Prime Minister. I think he gets a good map provided he jumps, and I think there's a bit more speed in this race than we're letting. I think Winning Dragon, even if he wants from barrier 8, could jump across, and I think there's going to be some tempo on. So we'll wait and see. But if they do go a bit slower, I do tend to agree Red Majesty as well could be one that sort of just keeps lugging along. And because, again, this race is a lot of exposed form. We know what we're going to get from all of these gallopers, but, geez, it's a tough one to finish the card.
Yeah, that's quite interesting. Number 3, Prime Minister, because this time returning after a 39 days of spell. And between this period, trainer Ricky Yu sends the horse to Chongfa, and the horse is now returning back to Hong Kong in very refreshed. So that's quite an interesting horse. It's working from gate 5, especially quite a good draw for him. And for me, I think this race is very not easy again. So I will go with number 2. Song Di, and we just mentioned that this time he needs to overcome the heavyweight, but I think the draw is good enough for him, gate 3, and I quite like his performance last time. He was beaten by Winning Dragon last time out, and this time they have to face with each other again. But I think Song Di this time can perform better because of the good draw. And also last time it was a race that favorable for all the front runners because Winning Dragon, the winner of that race, was staying in the second and the third place. And also the second one, Helene Feeling is also staying in front. However, Song Di last time carrying a top weight under Hugh Bowman, he stayed at the back, but at the home stretch he showed a really good turn of foot to chase well. So I think his form last time was quite solid. The third is not bad, but this time again the good draw for him. So maybe he can stay in the midfield. So maybe he will be able to turn the table because this horse that trained by John Size keep performing quite well. But yes, he really needs to overcome the heavyweight. But with Anton Hamlin on board, he is also good at riding some horses at top weights. So I keep my eyes on him. Number 2, Song Di in the last race. So to recap, race 9, our selections includes for Steve, number 4, Red Majesty, and number 3, Prime Minister for Nathan, and number 2, Song Di for myself. So after talking about the 3 legs of the trebles, let's talk about our best bet for the day. And we got some question in the chat room that Raymond, our audience, is asking about us, our opinion in race 6. So do you have any comment in race 6, Steve?
Well, my best bet in race 6 is going to be number 6, Season's Wit. I was slightly nervous about making a best bet about a horse that's never actually won yet in after 3 local wins, but he does look like a horse that's gearing up to win. He was second behind Atomic Force. He was in Gelded after that run. He then ran at Charene over the 5 furlongs, 1,000 meters, 4th to Flying High. And then second last time to Harmony and Blessed, who I tipped that time, Harmony and Blessed. A really nice horse that was coming back, steadily coming back to form from injury for David Hayes. But all things being equal, you would like to think Season's Wit, if he runs his race this time, he has a very good chance. I think Harmony and Blessed now is really tested at the revised weights. He's also not so well drawn this time, and Season's Wit is conversely better drawn. He's now from a wide gate. He's now in gate number 3. He looks handicapped to do some damage here, doesn't he? You would think ex-3-year-old Australian horse. And I think I also picked it because, to my mind, it's quite easy to discount quite a lot of the others here. I would eat my hat if High Rise Soldier managed to win here in the Class 3. He'll win now, of course, but it's very unlikely. He's a steady Eddie in his grade, but this looks beyond High Rise Soldier. Kakoshi Musu also. Harmony Fire just doesn't seem to be firing on all cylinders, it must be said. Atomic Energy has his chance. Drops of God seems to have lost his way at the moment. Lightning Storm ran very well after an absence. I'd probably like to see him bag that up first before I went in to see him. And Gorgeous Vitality kind of flattered to deceive for Frankie Law this season, but ultimately it's been quite disappointing. And Toronado Phantom has to be this distance to prove as well, mainly a 1,200 meter horse. And as I said, Harmony and Blessed has more to do up in the weights. So for me, all points towards Season's Wit. He's a horse going places. The Jamie Richards stable still keeping going. Great guns. Zach Purton on board. There's a good draw. He's a young horse, and he's one of the few in this race that's young. He's progressive. He's got a lot more off his mark. And you would imagine he should be able to win however the race sets up.
Yes, that's a nice horse indeed. Number 6, Season Wit in race 6. The good jockey and trainer partnership and the horse is really consistent, including when he was racing in Australia, he always not beaten far. And as well, after coming to Hong Kong, he's settling well here. What do you think, Nathan? Who will be your best bet tonight?
Yeah, ditto everything Steve said and more. I just think this is his day. It's his chance to clearly come out and win. He draws perfectly. Z Purton jumps on board yet again. His run last time behind Harmony and Blessed was just incredible. He was off the track. He was wide to last turning for home, powered to the line, and it just screamed back me next start. And there's no guarantees in racing. We know that, but all things even, you'd be shocked if Season's Wit wasn't in the finish here. He's got to be considered the best bet of the night for mine. I think the map is ideal. He can jump from barrier 3, put himself right there, sit in behind the speed. And we saw last time Lightning Storm, as Steve mentioned, came back from a very long 427-day spell. I thought his run was enormous first up, considering the long break. And he jumped, he went forward. He'll do the exact same thing from 9. He'll cart across, and from the gate, Seasons Witch will just carry us back the entire trip, peel off. And when the race goes on, he should be too good. I think he's clearly the best bet of the day. $2, I think that's a great chance. I think that's a great price, honestly. I think anything shorter, you're starting to get into poison territory, no doubt about that. But at the even money, I think that's a cracking bet tonight, and I'm happy to double up on him. Seasons Wit finds my best bet. Yes, I agree. The upside this Son of the Capitalist has, I don't think as well. I think, he's a 1,000-meter specialist at the moment. Later on in the preparation, we could see him get over further. But for now, let's get his Hong Kong win out of the way, and hopefully he does that tonight. Seasons Wit, I agree, best bet of the night, and by a pretty long way, because I think there's outside of this race, the card is very, very tricky.
Yeah, I think it is time for him to win his first victory in Hong Kong, number 6 season win in race 6. And I think this time the draw is really ideal for him, because last time breaking from gate 10 is not easy for him. But this time the draw is getting really, really good. Gate 2 for him, so quite ideal for him. Maybe he can stay in front, maybe behind the leader, but the running tactic is quite dynamic for him. So see how will he perform under Zach Purton. I also think that he has a really good chance to win. But for my best bet, I go with another horse that with the jockey trainer partnership, Zach Purton and Jamie Richard. It will be race 2, number 8, Tronic Mighty. He will be racing in this the 1,000 meters again, also from a wide draw, but comparing with the 1,000 meter and the 1,200 meters, the wide draw is over the 5 furlong. It doesn't really matter, because after breaking from the gates, there is a long straight for them before the first turn. So I think this horse Tronic Mighty has a good enough time for him to find a good position, especially under Zach Purton on board. And I think this horse is doing quite well this season, and he won on his first up in November, and after that he can also keep running close. So I think he's also quite competitive at this rating of 32, especially he's still racing in class 5. The rivals are not that strong and not that consistent, and he didn't race too much in this season, only having 5 attempts already. And this time he just returning from a spell of 48 days, and between that his track work is doing quite well. So I think that Tronic Mighty keep being quite fit at this moment, and I think the draw is not a big concern as long as he has Zach Purton on board again, and I'm quite confident that Zach is able to help the horse to find a good position before the turn. So I think rivals are not that strong in this weak field, so maybe Tronic Mighty on his 6th start in this season can win again, can return back to the winner's circle. So to recap our best bet for tonight, we have a double best bet in the beer garden today, because Steve and Nathan agree with race 6, number 6, Season Wit, and I will go with race 2, number 8, Tronic Mighty, and these are our best bet for tonight. So let's talk about some outsider that we like. Who will be your value bet, Steve?
I went back to race number 6, where I picked, or was it race number 7, where I picked Prime Water. So yes, I went to the number 9 horse there, which is so awesome in race number 7. And it was a frustrating horse for me, Suey. He actually went 18 runs without victory. He knocked on the door several times, and then he moved to Manfred Mann, and he won 2nd up. And then his second win was over course and distance, and it was under Matthew Chadwick. And he's just coming into this a very lightly raced horse this season. He's only had 2 runs. He was 8th to Son Pak Fu first up. And then last time, which was on the 6th of April, he was a 4 1/4 length 8th to Kokoshi Musu. And he was well back that day, just stayed on quite nicely. And he's a pound below his last winning mark. So yes, it's a very tricky race. I've gone for Prime Motor, of course, and Easy Snip, other horses with great chances. But I just think that reunited with Matthew Chadwick, he has a chance in this race, and you're looking at about $18. So it looks like quite a nice price for So Awesome. So hopefully that can bloom in the come to flower in the Jasmine Handicap.
Yeah, that's a nice pick. Number 9, so awesome. In race 7, the price now, yes, is $18. And I think, yes, he is quite likely race in this season. So maybe coming to the end of the season, so many horses, they are getting tired and tired. But so awesome. Only having the third start tonight, I think good draw for him as well. So maybe Matthew Chadwick is also a good jockey for the horse. So never underestimate him. So Nathan, who will be your value bet for the day?
Well, so initially my value bet was going to be in race 3. I was going to go with Lean Hero. Mickey D, as we mentioned, has a couple of really good rides, but came up a little bit shorter than I'd like. So I wanted to try and find one at around the double figure odds. So, but Lean Hero, he's my preview on horse betting. So if you want to check that out, I think he's a genuine, really, really good chance in the third race on the card. But race 4 will make the value runner because it's closer to double figure odds, and that's number 1. Awesome Treasure. Now, this is one I believe Charene made a best bet last time it ran at Charene in behind Super Highway. It was very unlucky. It was one of those races where the rain came and it was sort of a battle of attrition going to the line. Which one sort of had the more running under the legs, I feel, probably made the difference in the end with Super Highway just getting the nod. But I thought Awesome Treasure gave us a really, really bold sight. Had a piece of my own money on it. I thought he was enormous that day. I thought it was a really, really good effort. Super Highway has subsequently come out and won again from this effort on May 13th. So definitely ties into the right form line, you'd have to think. And comes here going really, really nicely. Drew nicely from 1, jumped, ran really, really well. And in this preparation, you look at every run this prep, every single start, he's been very, very consistent. The only one when you sort of put a pen through was on the all-weather, where he drew 12, went back, and was never really in contention. So outside of that race, the form he's been in behind has been really, really quality form. And I like him here. He's been well placed in Class 4 by David Hayes. And Luke Ferraris gets a chance here on a pretty good chance, I feel, at around the 10-1. I think each way is a very, very good bet on this Son of Charm Spirit. He's only a 5-year-old, very lightly raced. He suffered a setback, obviously, a couple of preparations ago. Just the 14 starts and only 1 win. But, gee, if you go back to that win, it was a really good win back in 2021. Yes, it's a long time ago, but he's consistent. He'll put himself in the race. And from barrier 4, you'd have to imagine he gets a very, very good run in a race where there's a lot of horses here where, you know, Denfield's probably in and around the market, drawn 12. You know, he's probably going to have to get back. Stormtrooper, I think he's well under the odds, personally. I think he's well exposed, well known now. And yes, he draws well and gets Purton on, but gee, I think you've got to take a short quote for a horse that hasn't been going his best this season. But in saying that, we know how good Purton can make a few of these gallopers on race night. And Flaming Passion as well, I think, draws well. But I think the map looks great. And Awesome Treasure getting a terrific price at around the 10s and 3.3. So happy to go each way with Awesome Treasure, and I'll make him the value bet here on the bigger.
Yeah, so number 1, Awesome Treasure in race 4. Yes, I did pick him last time out at Charene, and I think quite unlucky, as Nathan just mentioned. And yes, this time in race 4, the current favorites will be number 3, Stormtrooper. And so making Awesome Treasure is quite good. The price is quite good. 9.9 for the win and 3.3 for the pace. It's quite good for having him as a each way bet, I think, because the draw is still quite good for him, and a Happy Valley is also suitable for him. And for me, I have my value bet in race 5, the class 4 over 1650 meters. I like number 10, Son of McPhee, that ridden by Alexis Bedell, jumping from gate 2. The price now is 8.5 for him. And I think after returning from a short break, he is able to perform better, because in this season, he kept on racing over the all-weather track for both over 1650 meters and 1800 meters. But I think this time returning back to the turf surface is also good for him. Hopefully, he can bring some new insights for him, because he is also a course and distance winner last season. He is able to handle the turf course, and he only have 2 victories in Hong Kong, but both of them were carrying a lightweight. So hopefully this time 121 pounds is also good for him. And recently, I think his barrier trial over the 1200 meters was quite impressive, because the distance for that barrier trial was obviously too short for him. But he could still finishing quite well after finishing from the winning post. He could still keep some good momentum. So I think this time the draw is ideal for him, gate 2. So I think after breaking from the good draw under Alexis Badel, he is able to find a good position because there should not be quite a lot of fast horses in race 5, so maybe lack of pace. So he get a good chance from the good draw. So hopefully he can perform better after returning from a short spell. So number 10, Son of McPhee in race 5 will be my value bet today, 8.5. I think quite a good price for him. So to recap our value bet today, Steve goes with race 7, number 9, So Awesome. And Nathan goes with race 4, number 1, Awesome Treasure. And for me, race 5, number 10, Son of McPhee. So that's all for our preview for today's Happy Valley race card. And hopefully the weather will keep being fine, because yesterday there was so many rain in Hong Kong, but today the rain stops already. So let's have a good time in Happy Valley, and hopefully the ground will still be in good condition. Hopefully, and we can bring you some winner, and we will see you next time for the Charene preview. Thank you for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.